What's up, everyone? It's Brian at The Inevitable You, and we're back with part 2 on our series of stress management, turning stress and anxiety into the adrenaline of greatness. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about what stress is not and some of the common myths about how it serves us, which aren't really true. And with that, I'm going to be talking about the value of stress and in our past and where it came from, how it served us for our survival, but isn't really necessary and required like it once was. And I'm going to be giving some examples about how stress actually does serve us, the positive side of it, how it contributes to our growth and our success. And then finally, how simply just using the word stress creates more of a negative energy. It has more of a negative connotation, and how just changing your word choices, using different language, will actually empower you versus disempower and limit you. So hope you enjoy the content. We'll be back next episode next week with more content on stress management and actually venturing into stress as it relates to the holiday season and how to make it a magical experience versus a stressful experience like it is for most, turning the mayhem of the holidays into magic. So if you love the content, if you're interested in getting more, you can always go to our website, theinevitableyou.com, sign up for your 30-day free trial of our membership program. This content comes out of our weekly Tuesday night calls that I host for clients and members, and I open it up for Q&A and discussion afterwards. So we always have great conversations, great questions that people ask, and it's your opportunity to get some, on-the-spot impromptu coaching, some help and guidance for your challenges or your goals that you're working on. It's only a $39 a month program. You get access into our entire library of content and a whole self-paced online course that's really taking you from old you or old mental software into the greatest version of you. That's our Live Life by Design course. So 30-day free trial, sign up anytime. You can check out what's available for you there. If you have any questions, please send them my way. You can always reach me at Brian at theinevitableyou.com or through our website. So again, hope you enjoy the content, and we'll be back next week with more. I want to dispel some of the myths around stress here, and it's always helpful to look at what stress and things aren't, so we know what it is and really what we want to design as our new software for dealing with it. And I love this metaphor. When someone typically has a anger problem, and they're sent to anger management to reduce their anger, work on their anger problem. On their best day, in an anger management focus, we're giving all the tools. Here's how we can reduce anger. Here's how we can best manage it, get it under control. On the very best day, what's your best outcome in that kind of approach? Less anger, right? So when we look at this as an away pattern of we want to get away from anger, we want less anger, we're going to give you, tools to use to minimize the anger that you're going to experience. On your very best day, you just get less anger. Just like in our Don't Spill the Milk tool, on your very best day, you just get less spilled milk. Now, obviously, on your worst day, you just get, more anger. But think of the difference that this makes when you turn this, for instance, to serenity management. We're going to give you tools. We're going to give you, some NLP tools. We're going to give you some strategies around creating more happiness, peace, and serenities. On your very best day in that kind of strategy and focus, what do you get? You get more serenity, right? And here's where the real difference takes place. On your worst day, in this kind of pattern, you get what? less serenity. So, two very different approaches, very different ways to think about approaching this. And on your worst day in a serenity management focus, you get less serenity, versus your best day in anger management, you get less anger. So that's where the real difference lies. I mean, obviously, we'd love more serenity, but these are where these towards and away patterns make the world of difference. And so, again, it's helpful to think about this. If you're here, and I know I framed tonight's call and this kind of content chunk as stress management, but if you're approaching this as I just want less stress, know that, just like in our example here, you're just, in your best day, you're just going to get less stress, versus what's the opposite of stress? What are we really after? Is it peace of mind? Is it confidence? What are these great words and new focuses we can use instead of minimizing stress? So stress is not what happens to us, it is our response to what happens. And our response is something that we choose. Now, I would get rid of that "can choose," because we're always choosing, even if it's an unconsciously, an unconscious choice. We're always choosing how we react and respond to situations. So again, in looking at what stress is not, it's not the event, it's not the data point, it's not the storm of life that creates it, it's the aftermath of the storm. It's how your software is choosing to act. It's the act after the act. And so, you may be thinking, okay, this makes sense. Most people can agree with this sentence, but then again, where does these, Brian, I get it, but I mean, come on, look at the circumstances of my life, and I can't always choose how I react, can I? So think about this next quote. I will not stress myself out about things I can't control. Again, sounds pretty good, right? We can almost all agree. Yeah, I get that. I'm going to try to do this, or you've tried before, but come on. I mean, look, there's real stressors in life. I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got bills to pay. I've got whatever the things are that you stress about. These are real things. I get that. I'm not diminishing that. But again, you can look at a quote like this and think to yourself, yeah, I can do that, but not all the time, or I don't always control. And so, ish. I kind of do that. I kind of agree with that. It would be nice, and there's that but, right? And some of you may be thinking, if this is beginning to, this is challenging a lot of the things that you thought about your stress patterns, you might say, well, stress actually sharpens me. It heightens my sentence. It helps me avoid the pitfalls and the dangerous, things out there, and it's actually my friend. It serves me. And so on. You'll justify. You'll feel better. You'll put a positive spin on this stressful place. But then again, we know that stress, especially distress, is not good for our health. Is not an enjoyable experience. I mean, I haven't met a person yet that really enjoys being stressed out all the time. So you really have to think about these quotes, and more importantly, your quotes, what you say to yourself and others about stress. If you run a sentence like this that perpetuates this stressful pattern, you really got to think about making a different sentence, creating a different belief about what this stress is really doing for you. We looked at last time, in our don't spill the milk pattern, that it actually enhances the probability. And then, talking to your children, it's not like you would say from those examples last time, we want to put a whole lot of stress and worry in our bodies. That's our recipe for success here. No, you wouldn't say that to a child. And so at a deeper level, really ponder this. I've seen variations of this. I think this is very eloquently put. If you can solve your problem, then what's the need of worrying? If there's a solution, why worry about it? And if you cannot solve it, then really what's the use? Your worry is not going to change the outcome. So it doesn't become a useful strategy at that point. And so I get this a lot. You might say, okay, you're trapping me in my words, and isn't this just semantics? And I get people push back a lot on my focus on language and words, but words have meanings. We put specific meanings on words. And so look at this definition pulled from right out of the dictionary. A state of mental and emotional strain, or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. So right off the bat, emotional strain and tension, it's not a very positive way of looking at it. And then look at the thesaurus. Look at all of these synonyms for stress. Is there any good, positive, half full words in here? Yeah, no. There's not. So even when you're just loosely using the term stress, I'm just stressed out today, I've had a stressful week, and I got this project coming up, I'm pretty stressed, and even when you think it's not making a huge impact, it is. Again, it's these habitual sentences. It perpetuates the software. And do words mean what they mean, or do they mean what we say they mean? What do you think? Do words have an inherent meanings, or do they mean what we intend them to be or think they mean? What do you guys think?
I guess what we mean.
Yeah. That's what most people think. But, not only is that, it's not true. We can expand, we can, add intensity, right, to the meanings. But it's words have inherent meanings. Again, look at the thesaurus here. The specific synonyms that, in language that's been around for thousands of years, hundreds, there's a reason why we use certain words. So you really have to think, even when loosely using a term, if it's more half empty, typically, it's generally not going to serve you. And for most people, stress, when they use the term, means distress. This is why it's so important that we begin to reframe the meaning behind it. Now, there is a value of stress, as we talked about, alluded to last time. There is a half full of this when you make it use stress. And dating back to when we were, living as cave men and women, do you think that because there was a tiger waiting outside the cave that they were just hiding in their cave, constantly stressed out and worried about the tiger that could potentially be out there, or were they just living their cave man and woman life, and then until they went outside and saw the tiger, that's when the adrenaline kicks in. And the value of the adrenaline and its evolutionary role was, hey, if you were the fastest one to run away and survive and not get eaten by the tiger, then your genes continue on. Your genes continue to help the gene pool survive. Now, if you weren't fast enough or not enough adrenaline kicks in, well, your genes don't continue on. It's eliminated from the gene pool. So stress certainly helps in our fight or flight response and ensuring survival. But how often was that necessary in those times? I mean, think about it. Was it twice in the morning, twice at lunchtime, twice at night? Yeah, no, probably not. It was once in a while that adrenaline had to kick in so that you could ensure your survival, so that this fight or flight response happened. Now, what's important about that is, what are we recording as these fight or flight scenarios? Is it traffic? Is that what's creating stress today? Traffic, God, or these vexing people at work. We talked last time a little bit about micro versus macro stresses. What is being recorded that's creating a fight or flight response today? Is it a job interview? Is it a project deadline? Is it a mortgage payment? We were not designed to have and be in these perpetual states of stress. That's why we're seeing more, connections and, stress being linked to a lot of different health problems. We're just, our adrenal glands weren't designed for it, our bodies weren't, and we can't handle it. So when our software records a lot of things and many things throughout the day as stressful fight or flight scenarios, it's what's creating the stress. It's not the data points. It's not the storms of life. So, we must make this about, in these moments, about potentiality and greatness and joy, because, why not? And what do you really have to lose? And how much more enjoyable would life and your experience of it be when it's about greatness and joy versus, worrying about spilled milk, worrying about meteors that never come out of the ceiling? And so a lot of our client work centers on the phoenix screwing up the order. So if you have seen the formula, one of our top tools in the system, if you haven't, you want to catch that, go to the member site, watch it. Talks about Phoenix being a catalyst for a lot of people. When you get to your desk, you open up your computer, you email, oh my God, Phoenix screwed up the order, I can't believe this, versus this is awesome, I'm going to be the hero, the boss is going to love me, I can't wait to solve this problem. And so Phoenix being about excitement, being about moments of growth, it is in your DNA. And it just takes a change of focus, a change of thinking about it, and looking at stress as a positive and stress as growth versus stress as bad. Stress is, I don't like this. Stressful moments is I want less of it. So whether it's these great metaphors of a diamond is just a piece of charcoal that handled stress exceptionally well, or the hottest fire forges the strongest steel. The butterfly and cocoon example, that the butterfly has to go through an intense struggle to emerge from the chrysalis, that small opening. It needs that to fly. It needs it for it part of its final stage of its metamorphosis and its transformation. Otherwise, it can't wring all the moisture. It can't wring all the gooey substance from its wings, and it can't fly. So we have tons of great examples and metaphors and fun ways to think about this as to why you shouldn't be stressed out, but that these are necessary. These are moments for my greatness. This is a transformational moment, and especially these in the 10 moments when life is being testing you and being cruel is the most important times where we run this new software to say, and to take it back to the Phoenix screwed up my order moment. This is amazing. This is my opportunity. This is, God testing me, the universe testing me, whatever your belief system is. This is my moment. This is my day. So big question for you to ponder. Why do you pay more attention to, the half empty, I don't like this sucks, versus the half full, the positive, stress being growth? So, some fun stuff to journal on, think about, answer for yourself. Great questions, always priming great answers for you in your own self-discovery on how to transform your stress experience to one of greatness and growth.